What is up? How are we doing? How's everybody doing? One's in chat if you're ready for Kyle. He's right here. He's ready to go. I got the questions ready. I got the questions ready to go. I'm excited. Who's excited? One's in chat if you're excited. I will be turning the power chats off, obviously, for right now. So let's just, be good. I have my questions from Twitter already ready. One's in chat if you're ready. I'm excited. This is going to be fun.
Hello?
Kyle, are you there?
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to be showing your face right now? Do you have your camera ready and everything?
In a minute.
All
I just took a step outside right now.
Retweet the stream, everybody. Kyle's here. We're getting the pre-Kyle intro. Just let me know when you're ready to get going. I got my questions ready. How are you doing today? Good?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Just out on a little stroll.
Mm-hmm. What are you, just walking around, going for a walk?
Yep.
Who's in chat from Langang? Who's in chat? My chat won't refresh. I don't know how many viewers we have. This is super annoying. Yeah, he's keeping California safe. He's on a patrol. We got some lighthearted questions, but I actually got some really good questions from Twitter. I kind of expected it to be, Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there were a lot of that, but I actually found some good ones that were pretty good. And then I have some of my own that I threw in there, and I'll let you know what are mine. But yeah, one's in chat for Langang. I don't know if you know, but the guy who invented hashtag Langang is in chat right now. He's super excited for this. He sent a question about it.
Canada?
No, Canada Groiper, that's like our little sphere, but it's actually low taper fade Groiper. Big Groip in chat.
Oh, low taper fade? Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was a combination of, low taper, like number 1, and then Canada 2.
Canada was the first to tweet it. Brody made it real popular on his stream. But yeah, we're really excited for this interview. I'm happy you accepted it. I know this was a little late, kind of a random thing. Like, it was a short-term plan type of thing. But I'm excited.
Yeah.
Everyone retweet the stream. Get in here. But just let me know when you're ready.
Well, what's your first question?
My first question, you want to take them? Okay, we can get right into it. My first question, this is a question from me. The first two are from me, and then the last one will be from me. So the people get to talk. But and this is kind of casual, but I watched your Alex Stone interview, and remember I DM'd you. I said I really liked it. I think your answers were pretty good on that one. And and it came, and I didn't like how. And I did not like how, when he brought up Nick in relation to you, he kind of immediately distanced himself. I really don't like when people do that. It's kind of like a snaky interview thing.
I think it's just like
he did the whole,
almost like a reflex.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like because if you actually look at Alex's feed, like
that's what I mean. That's why I didn't like it. It was like this face-saving thing.
Yeah, well, he's interacting with Faith, and he's
a good guy. It's not that. I just didn't like that the way that question came off. It's not an indictment of him.
Oh, the way that it was spun?
Yeah, I just didn't like how it came off because I wasn't familiar with him until that interview. And I was like, and then because I was like, oh, he's just distancing himself. That's kind of cringe, But it gave me a good question to ask, which was, because you've been so open about how Nick's like an inspiration to you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Has that been a problem for you, like in real life in your campaign? Has anyone brought that up to you? Has that been an issue? No, not one issue? No one's ever brought it up or anything?
Nope. Yeah, if anything, it's a strength, actually.
Really? How so?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, that way people, know that you're legit and you're not like a foreign agent or you're not bought out. Like, people can really trust what you say and that you have conviction.
At least you mean it type of a thing?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, what's up?
I kind of lost you for a second there. Are you back now?
Yeah, I'm back. Can you not hear me?
No, I can hear you now. You just cut out there for a second. What was that last thing you said? So everyone hears.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, that way people know that, you're not, like, a foreign agent. And, it really is, like, a good test of, I guess, who else is, if someone is Israeli compromised or or like is not really like a conservative or Christian or anything, then those are the only people that are repulsed. So it's a really good test of who's legitimate and who's not. Like, you know, because the only people that are against are people that are like disgusting themselves, and then the people that like it and think it's cool are people with like actually families, and they go to church and they pray and they are against drugs and alcohol and they're patriots. So
you want to attract a certain crowd, and being open about Nick kind of gets them to you. Is that what you're saying?
Yep. Yeah. Repel the bad people and then attract the good ones. So yeah.
How much people in real life have you seen like come in and try to participate in your campaign? Has it been more than you thought would?
Not more. About as many as I thought.
Because you are running I'm not familiar. Maybe you're rich and I have no idea, but you are kind of doing like a very grassroots thing. You don't have like the backing of the party or anything just yet. So has that been a difficulty for you at all? Because a lot of people, they ask you some questions like that I really don't feel like anyone asks you about like the campaign itself. That hasn't been an issue at all?
Yeah. No, not at all. It's been a strength because that way I'm not tied down, or I don't want to try and play, and I don't want to try to play their game, because if you try to play it the way of the party, it's all a money game. Who can fundraise the most? And the thing about it is that it's all a scam. Like, they want you to pay their advertisers. They want you to bribe the chairs. They want you to, you know, buy the TV ads. Mm-hmm. There's an entire economy that only survives on campaign donations, contributions, on basically like running really expensive campaigns. And, you know, and I guess I support the jobs and all that, but what I don't support is the fact that many candidates need to sell out or compromise their values just in order to get enough money in order to mount a campaign. And so that's why I'm taking the approach of like just trying to become like a big national figure, too big to ignore, and like really just speak the absolute unabridged truth. You know, never compromise even a tiny bit, just 100% truth, 24/7, 365. Because like I said, if you try to play their game, A, you're probably going to lose, and B, you're not being your true authentic self. So that's the way I see it.
And I have another question, and then I'll get into you keep saying stuff that gives me questions. This is good. But real quick, and then we'll get into the ones from the people. But what was I going to say? I just forgot it. You said, what did you just say? Oh, right. You kind of negated this entire, you know, as you put it, like, you know, economy of governor races, like political economy with social media.
Yep.
And, you know, in our sphere and like on Twitter, you've done really well. You're doing that same stuff on local social media pages as well, though, correct? Right?
I'm not, but I could. Part of my strategy is to create like an absolute arsenal of content. Mm-hmm. So that way, like, as it gets closer, and also every time that I launch every time I go to a new platform, I've got that catalog of content ready to go. And so that's really a strategy. And for example, that's what's allowed Nick to really blow up in a big way this year, is because all the clippers, everybody that's like posting his things and creating content, like there's thousands of hours to work off. So that's how he's able to experience rapid success and, you know, rapid fame, rapid growth on a platform which he doesn't even have an account, is because there is that catalog of videos.
You kind of want to get to that point where you got a video for everything, so people know what you think before they even approach you on, like, personally, like on your website. Like, before anyone's even at your website, at your campaign info, they already know what Kyle thinks. You kind of want to go for that approach. You want them to really know you, and that's why you go for all these clips, and you kind of have a clip for everything. You know what I mean? People, you have clips where you're likable, you have clips where you talk about religion, you have clips where you're talking about policy, and I think that helps you cast a wider net, because maybe someone's really concerned about policy, like a lot of these older people, but for these younger people, it is more of a cultural thing, and I think you've done a good job at that. Would you say that's kind of your approach?
Yeah, definitely. That's kind of secondary to having to the availability, which is yeah, but yes, I mean definitely, yeah, I think Yeah, that's definitely important. But like I was saying, it is about like the new platforms and about, yeah, like having clips ready to go and for different situations.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So I guess I would say the answer is yes.
Okay, because that's kind of how I understood what you just said. I just want to make sure I'm getting it right. You know what I mean? And then,
Yeah.
okay,
Yep.
first question: how do you plan to keep like the farming? I actually had a similar question as well. And you've talked about being in like you very much support mass deportations. I understand that you want to talk like I'm from California. The reality is, you know, it is a very diverse state. It's gonna be diverse for the next 100 years. It's the way it is. But you do support, you know, mass deportations, right? You do support, you know, replacing these visa workers who are taking jobs from Americans and putting Americans in these positions, right? Like in the tech industry, right? Do you support those things?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Not only,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. Well, I want California to operate like a closed system
Mm,
where we are educating our youth, we are hiring our own, we are creating opportunity for our own people. The world is not undocumented Californians, and that's a big part of the reason why we have the problems that we do is because we do not bet, we do not invest, we do not plan on using our young people, on using our next generation. We outsource a lot of the talent.
mm-hmm,
The major problem is that the people that come here, the foreigners, they don't invest. They don't add value to California. So they come here to take wages. They send a lot of their money back home. And then two things happen. One, they bring their family here, and then they literally terraform the state. You see it in the Bay Area
mm-hmm,
all the time, where we're like thousands of Indians will move in, and then suddenly you've got Indian grocery stores, you've got
mm-hmm,
people speaking Hindu, you've got new religious institutions opening up, and then the schools open up, banks, hospitals. It's like I mean, you can call it either terraforming or you can call it an invasion, but the reality is that the end result is something different than it started. And so I really do want to prevent that. I really do want to prevent California's character from changing, and the rest of the country will thank me for that as well, because many people in other states call it like Californication of their states,
mm-hmm.
which means that the prices get higher for everything. So Californians move to their neighborhood and then they jack up the prices of everything. And then also just Californians have a very different culture from the rest of the US. So
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
keeping people, but the thing about it is that what you need to do is you need to keep people in California. So make California nice, not somewhere where they want to flee.
I mean,
So
I
that's,
totally agree. I really empathize with
yeah,
that because I saw my town in my lifetime go from white to Mexican to Indian in my lifetime, and that's totally
yeah.
true. And then
Well,
yeah, I want to
it's not even,
go ahead, please.
well, it's not even only that, because like it's just that I want a stable culture. I want a stable, you could like a stable like ethnicity. Like I want everything to kind of stabilize over time. So to become more of a recognizable California, if that makes sense, because we're constantly in flux. Of course, the young people are going to grow up with identity crisis, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, what does it mean to be a Californian? How am I valuable? Am I just going to be replaced?
Mm-hmm. You
Like
kind of
that's the
want to
way that I
preserve
look
like
at
the
it.
soul of California. It's kind of how I
Yep.
see it.
And preserving the soul of California, you have to preserve the people of California too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's really how I see it. And yeah, and the thing about it is that we haven't had that mentality in California in forever. It's
No.
always just been thought of like kind of like the Wild West, and where everybody just needs to kind of fend for themselves, and everything's always in flux. And I really do want to stabilize the state. That's the way that I see it.
And we need that.
Stabilize the jobs,
Mm-hmm.
stabilize the economy, stabilize the immigration, aka none, and just allow communities to form again. You know, we built a lot of housing. It's but it hasn't been quality housing, but we have built a lot of housing, and entirely new communities have been formed, and I think we just need to enter a period of stability in California, where people start going to church and where our economy is more safe, and we're fighting wildfires, and we're regrowing the environment, because environmentalism is incredibly important to me. And I just think stability is something that a lot of Californians would appreciate in these times of turmoil and having the place become unrecognizable, unsafe. Like, I think people are ready to return to normal.
I kind of have a
Whatever
question. The next question is kind of on that note. How will we, reform California? And this question is pretty good, and this is from the audience now. How will you rebuild the Palisades and make sure people don't get screwed out of their homes?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I'll give credit where credit's due. I mean, so I do think that there is more that Gavin Newsom could have done to prevent the Palisades fire in the first place. Especially because now I live around this area, and I can see how a lot of how there are some fire hazard areas here that are designated fire hazard areas. And so, and also not only that, but there are not great, I guess you could say, like firefighting, we don't have enough fire stations or enough helicopters or enough early warning systems or all that. Like, our fire response down here in LA is lacking. And so, I guess but I would say that second, when it comes to rebuilding, is I think Gavin Newsom's done a good job with the cleanup, and I know many of the contractors down here, and they are excited to get to rebuilding. I think the key is that you definitely need to make sure that people are not pressured to sell their homes. So some of the practices that some people do that are shady down here are trying to get people to sell their home values for low prices. So obviously right now, while it's destroyed, it's going to be at its lowest value. And so I think publishing, like maybe like mandating like some stability in the value of land down here might be important. And, making sure that these people that really got screwed are not going to have their futures decimated because of this. And then, rebuild quickly. Try and see how.
Just followed on.
I mean, a lot of it is the private sector, so there's only so much the public sector can do, such as cleanup. Cleanup is more public sector. Rebuilding is more private. But yeah, I think any way that the public sector can assist in the rebuilding, whether it's accessibility, maybe even lifting equipment. So maybe if the government could subsidize some cranes to be used down here, so that way the contractors can rent them out cheaper. Or any kind of any kind of way in which the public sector can help the private rebuild would be best. And then also make sure that the people are not getting screwed out of their land and homes, selling it for far under what they paid or what it was worth in November. So I guess I would say that there's a few steps, but still like a long ways out. But just make sure. I guess I would just designate a task force to assist the private sector in rebuilding and try to see what kind of ways in which public dollars could be used to accelerate that process.
The next question, I totally agree with that answer. And we have a lot of unemployed people. It's like a little over 1 million, right? And a big portion of the fires is just like a lack of cleanup. I think the last one, it's 1.1 million unemployed people in California. I don't think the
unemployment rate is that high.
No, it's very low. It's a low unemployment rate, like the number of people, but it's a low unemployment rate. But it's less than 5%, I think. I just looked. So it's less than 5%, but it's 1 million people. Yeah. But that's jobs that could just go to, cleaning up the forest, which is a big reason for a lot of these fires. So I do agree with you, reformatting, getting people jobs and cleaning up and rebuilding the state. I do agree with those things.
I want environmental jobs, cleaning up the water, cleaning, like fire management, replanting trees. Those are all things that I deem important. So we definitely need way more environmental jobs. I mean, a lot of people like to give I mean, I will say that I think that there was a lot of waste in the green initiative, but it wasn't a bad idea, like on its face. I just think that a lot of the people running it, I think that there was a lot of inefficiency in the dollars to output ratio.
Yeah.
You know, I think, yeah, but I do. I mean, the thing is, a lot of people like to give solar a bad name, but it's like, I think we just need more development in the efficiency, because the efficiency of solar doubles about every 2 years. It's very similar to computer chip output through Moore's law. So solar efficiency functions very similar to Moore's law, where over time the panels do become more efficient. And so eventually we will get to a point where, obviously, I think, unless you're just an uneducated bigot, you understand that the sun is the ultimate source of energy. And if you are someone that went to school, you understand that solar panels development takes time. And so eventually solar panels will be cost effective. It's just, at what point do we get there? And I'm pretty hopeful that with a lot of this AI technology and the rapid improvement of the efficiency of those like GPUs, that solar will also improve. So that we'll be able to get people more green jobs that will actually lower cost for Californians, because energy costs and water costs are two things that are very important. And so, like, in the age of AI, I just want AI to work to make people's lives better and not replace them, work with people, not, yeah, I think, what is Gavin Newsom? He says, like, work with people, not past people, or something, or, yeah, Gavin Newsom has I've been like watching a bunch of his podcasts and speeches for like the past year, and he has a lot of sayings that I really like.
No, he's a great speaker.
Yeah,
he's a great speaker.
Yeah, no, he is. And one of my favorite sayings specifically is, he's like, I'm not trying to impress you, but to impress upon you.
That's right. He's a very good. It's very, as someone from California, you hear this a lot. You hear the new scum. And
he even
I think
said it himself the other day.
It's really redundant.
2 days ago.
Why not?
Well, to me,
why not say good job for what he does good?
Here's the thing, and I did want to talk about Gavin Newsom because
right ahead,
he is who the establishment fears. The establishment fears Gavin Newsom because he's a good-looking white man with a beautiful family, and he's really smart and well-spoken, and his heart is in the right place. And so that's why they fear him. The establishment needs to make him look bad. Like, for example, like Rick Grinnell said in a speech the other day, he said, we spent $1 billion to convince the public that Kamala was an idiot. So if they spent $1 billion to convince the public that Kamala was an idiot, who already is not that impressive, how much are they spending to convince the public that Gavin Newsom is not a great guy, or is not a leader, or is like that he has that, that he's a mess? How much money is being spent to convince you of that?
I remember when he did the debate,
billion.
the first time I really saw him speak like in long form is when he debated the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. And, you go up there thinking Newsom's going to be this evil guy, doesn't care, this liberal, piece of crap. That's kind of how they want you to think of him. And or even against Charlie Kirk, both of these people, Gavin Newsom does come off as like a likable, someone you would, if he was doing policy correctly.
Actually, in some ways, Gavin Newsom is the least liberal person out there, because you know what? Like, if we're gonna say capital T truth, think about what the $20 an hour minimum wage did. It cut tens of thousands of jobs. How not liberal is that? It forced these companies to automate. I mean, like, it's like, let's say that if you hate fast food workers and you want to cut jobs, you can't just say, oh, I want to cut 20,000 jobs. No, you say, we're going to raise the minimum wage. What is liberal? Liberal is saying we're going to create more jobs. We're going to lower wages. We're going to get more people working for less. Non-liberal is saying we're going to raise prices. We're going to raise the wages. So that way, like the and like the Darwinian evolution needs to take effect. You know, only the strongest will survive. So it's pretty brutal, but you know, a lot of people, like, sometimes I just hear conservatives, the things they bash them over, and I'm just like, who's the liberal now? Like, you're sounding like the liberal now.
Yeah.
I guess I would almost say that there's a difference. Like, I almost want to draw a line between, like, I feel like there's conservative, liberal, and then there's Nietzschean. And I feel like sometimes some people confuse liberals with Nietzscheans. Like, I would almost say that Gavin Newsom is somewhat of a Nietzschean.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where he makes life like living so difficult and so expensive that only the absolute best can survive. And that's kind of like the way that California has functioned. And that's why the GDP numbers have been rising. And we do have a lot of wealthy people here, but the problem is that that's an unsustainable way of thinking. And that's where I come to disagree with him, is that I think that we do lose a lot of good people in trying to be too progressive, if that makes sense, in trying to automate too many things, in bringing in cheap labor just so that way we can have a temporary boost in the economy. Like, it's short-sighted. So, like, if I were to actually go debate head-to-head versus Gavin Newsom, a lot of the points that he brags about, like, I would say, I understand your point of view, and I understand the facts and figures that you're looking at that bring you to that conclusion. But the reality is that often Kyle,
We can't. I don't have any audio from you. Kyle, are you there? I think you muted your mic.
Yeah.
There you go.
Am I still muted?
No, you're all good now. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, did you hear what I was saying about the fact that a lot of like Gavin Newsom's policies don't result in a better California long term?
Yeah, you weren't muted for that long. You were muted for like 5 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't saying anything there, but yeah, that's the way that I feel about it. Is like, is that, yeah, just, I mean, yeah, that's why it's important to take care of your own people and to really care about domestic development, which another one of my first policies that I actually drafted up that I'm going to elaborate on from my policy card is that workforce development training to make sure that people who work hard and do honest work, that they have an opportunity to become reskilled and then transfer to a different sector of the workforce. Because hardly anybody ever talks about that. They never talk about, I guess, like trying to get people who are maybe working at Target or Walmart or working at a restaurant, getting them to maybe work in, the trades or in a factory, or try to do something different. Like career changing, I believe, could and should be facilitated through the government. Because if you think about it, like a lot of the private sector, they excel in specialization, but the public sector should excel in generalization. And so that's why I think that that's something that the public sector could assist in. And I think that people would they would recognize that their tax dollars are going to a good place in that.
Well, yeah, if my tax dollars were going to, keep people in the workforce, especially earlier, we were talking about automation, right? Well, what if your job, your blue-collar worker, got automated out? Well, then would it be fair for that person to never be employed again? And you create this opportunity for them to go reskill and be able to apply themselves somewhere else. I think that's not a bad idea at all. And I'd prefer that to what a lot of our money in California goes to currently. With a lot of waste, right? Yeah. You talked about that before.
Yeah, well, it's just because there's entire industries that revolve around the waste. So if you actually solve the problems, then, the people, they need to they need to go find work somewhere else. And so that's why we really do need to focus on creating new industries of the future that are human friendly. Because Gavin Newsom says all the time that the future happens in California first, and then goes and rebounds to the other states or around the world. And I think we really need to keep, if we want to keep that legacy, then it is going to be those job reskilling programs. That's what's going to be needed.
Yeah, I actually have a question right here that I really like. I'm kind of, I don't want to take advantage of your time, so I'm kind of skipping over some of them. But this one's kind of good. What statement would you make to the people of California to demonstrate your seriousness and, more importantly, your readiness and commitment to becoming the next governor?
Yeah, I guess I would say I'm going to melt down the party lines, so that way we're making sure that we're putting Californians first above the Democrat-Republican divide, because a lot of times party lines in California prevents people from, it prevents like our elected representatives from really making the best decisions. And yeah, and I would say that, I mean, clearly everybody can see that my campaign is rooted in absolute truth, uncensored, unredacted truth, and that it's always with the purpose of keeping people safe, keeping people protected, employed, and administering justice. And so, yeah, and I think people can tell too that I work 24/7 at this. You know, if I was only posting like once or twice a week, and I wasn't really trying to put myself out there, and I wasn't creating content, or I wasn't writing policy, or I wasn't going to events, like I could see people being like, oh, he's not serious, but I'm doing all that. And not only that, but honestly, if you look at Chad Bianco's campaign, he's given up. So Chad Bianco for the long time was the Republican front runner, but he really was just a distraction from me. But, you know, but he's the one that they propped up back in February when I announced. Literally, Chad Bianco announced 2 weeks later because they're like, oh, no, we can't let the media grapple onto this guy. So the establishment panicked and then threw Chad Bianco up. And look at him now. His campaign has totally faded away. He doesn't put up any video content. Like, he barely posts. Like, he's not doing interviews. Steve Hilton has captured the TV audience. So it's like his campaign got destroyed, blown out, you know? And not only that, but Steve Hilton's raised $1 million. And I'm still going toe-to-toe with him. I literally ratioed him yesterday. So, you know, it's like, you know, and he's getting burnt out too. I see it in his eyes all the time, but he's still trying. And
well, it's funny you say that, because I remember watching the live stream. They said they were the debates. Do you remember that debate you just did? And
yeah, there were like 10 people there.
And yeah, I was very underwhelmed. I don't think they, hosted that event at all, as well as they could.
Yeah, it was a joke. It was a joke. It was an absolute joke.
But I remember thinking, you could have been there and have said nothing and still have came out as the best. And that's not to anything to do with your performance. I think you did great. But it's just because these other guys, they're old, they're boring. They don't really have anything endearing or different about them. They're all kind of the same copy-paste of what a California Republican has been since, like, before we were born. And
yeah, and if you listen to a lot of what they said, like, I would say out of, like, 6 out of 8 of the topics brought up, everybody just copied my position.
Yeah,
especially the blockchain one. Especially the blockchain one. I said we should put the government on the blockchain because that's the final solution for government accountability. And then like 3 out of the 4 people copied me after I said that.
Like they know what the blockchain is. These like people in their 50s could tell you what that is too. That's what's so funny.
Yeah, well, they weren't quite in their 50s. They were like, maybe in their like 40s or maybe early 50s. But I'm just saying, like, it was true that a lot of people like did copy me while I was there. And I mean, it's fine. I mean, even Steve Hilton's copying me right now in many things that I'm saying. And, he copied my pro-life position, literally word for word. So,
I didn't hear about that. Get into that. That's actually very interesting. Call him out. You get clipped.
Yeah, well, so Steve Hilton, I watched your statement in the church about being pro-life and about the balance that you need to strike between being responsible to the people of California and, the responsibility to be pro-life, which is to be pro-human, which is moral, which is right. And I thought that, what you copied me on was the fact that I have said for the longest time that we need to change, we need to morph the society of California to be more pro-life so that the young people want to keep their kids and that they want to have kids in the first place, and that we are more of a pro-life state and pro-life culture. And it was that he copied me, which is fine because you know what? That's the correct position. So, it's totally okay. I'm not even against him copying. I'm just simply stating that that's a recognition that I came out with the correct position on pro-life in California.
It is kind of been fun to watch how your presence will shake up how these other people running even act. I remember when you were doing your video you posted on Twitter from before, you're like, your announcement, oh, we're doing the debate, to get everyone ready to go watch it. And I could see him in the background. That one guy came up to be on camera. They don't know how to respond to you because they've never seen anyone like you, really going for the youth, being on the media with this personality. You out of all the other people, it's like they don't even have a personality. They're like a robot. And it's very funny watching them not be able to handle that.
I actually have a funny clip that I never posted. I could show you. We were at the governor's debate. I'm like, these are people that want to be public figures. So I take my tripod and I set it up and I'm like, okay, guys, get in the frame. Let's like hype this debate up. Let's talk about it. I set the tripod up. I point the camera where they're like in the background and everybody moves. I'm like, okay, I can understand this if I was setting it up at like a park or something. Or if I was like at a restaurant, I'm like, hey guys, come get in the frame. But I'm literally at the California Republican governor's debate. I set up the camera. They don't even want to be in. They don't want to be even be in the shot. Well, like for me, you point a camera on me, I'm ready to perform at any time.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not media trained. I guess they're not taking this very seriously. I mean, if you're willing to give that clip to me, I'll play it on stream after you leave. I would love to do that, or just get it out there. I would say post that clip. I mean, they are your opponents, But
yeah, well, I didn't post it because it was just like ridiculous how they ran away. But
yeah, I think that would be very cool to see, at least for me. I got another question if you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, my phone's also about to die, but maybe one more.
Okay, I'll give you a short one so you can answer and then tell people where to find you. Does that sound good?
Sure.
This is a short. I'll do a fun one to end it because we don't have time. You remember how earlier when you first got on, I talked about how the CG-verse, which is kind of, the guys I hang around, and they created Lang Gang, Low Taper Faith. Have you actually seen hashtag Lang Gang like being something that like is beneficial? Because my chat has been asking me the entire stream, oh, ask them about hashtag Lang Gang,
Yes, hashtag Lang Gang and the Lang Gang in general has been absolutely instrumental. I would not have gotten this far without the Lang Gang, not at all. And yeah, I owe all my success to the Lang Gang and to Nicholas J. Fuentes as well. So yeah, I nothing but gratitude for all of them and the Groypers too, all the Clippers, everyone in general. This is a team effort because the thing is that I'm opening the door for other people to run like me. To talk about these topics, to not be canceled, and to ultimately, I'm also trying to kind of burn down the previous establishment too, the one that kept us out of the media, the one that made our ideas dangerous or whatever. I am trying to melt them down too, because it's time for these boomers to get out of the way, and for the next generation to rise up. And the fact is that all of Gen Z is Groypers. So like if we want to get anyone into politics, anyone, anywhere, like we're gonna have to open the door up. And and it frustrates me that the mass media, ignores me, and and that no matter how much, I guess like success we attain, that they keep ignoring. But we're breaking down the door, and yeah, I absolutely will continue to give Lang Gang shout outs, praise, credit, and yeah, we're gonna rise. We are rising. We are doing well, and yeah, merch is coming this weekend too.
Wow, we're excited. Okay, well,
yeah.
I'll let you go. Your phone's gonna die. I mean, you gave me an extra 10 minutes over, so I really appreciate your time. I want to say, you've really impressed me. I remember early on, you got a lot of flack, and I remember I would argue with people and be like, no, I mean, you're not gonna support him. He's already out there. He's already done it. We got to go behind this guy. He's gonna do it with or without us, and I'm really
not only
happy to
that,
see people get behind you and have these giant or much bigger influencers even outside of our sphere come around and back you, like when Sarah Sock
yeah,
did that picture with you and she was retweeting you.
yeah.
And you've been viral a couple times, so I just want to say you've been doing a really
Yesterday,
good job online. Yeah,
I
go ahead.
I had I had one of the most impactful statements about the Israeli like embassy worker shooting. Over 13,000 likes,
Yeah.
like a 250,000 impressions. QM. And yeah, and then there was also that account that was like trying to slander me and stuff. So it's like, I am seriously, I am like seriously making some real progress, um, and I'm loving it every step of the way because my movement is about love, being pro humanity, Jesus Christ, the Catholic Church, doing the right things, being pro life. It's like that's why they can't attack me. There's nothing to attack because I'm in the right and I put on the armor of God, and so that's why I really live my life without fear.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let you give. That was a great statement, by the way. But where can people find you? Last thoughts, anything you want to get out before you go? Campaign, media. Where
Yeah.
can we go buy your merch this weekend? Stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll probably put it out. I'll probably announce it on Monday or Sunday afternoon. But yeah. So yeah, obviously like X, Instagram at Kyle Langford CA. I have the username on both platforms. And yeah, governorlangford.com for any kind of merch or donations. And then yeah, I'm going to be selling armbands next week too. Those are going to sweep the nation. I'm going to do everything I can to try to get those costs down so we can really mass distribute them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Imagine the white armband everywhere. Like that's the goal. So
I
yeah,
mean, that's gonna shake things up. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be good to see. That's gonna be cool to see.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's gonna be white armband, black circle, red bridge logo.
That goes hard. We love San Francisco.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
thank you for
yeah,
coming
no,
on,
it's gonna be
Kyle.
so good.
Thank you so much. No,
Yep.
keep going. What were you gonna say?
No, that's it. No, I was just gonna say, I think it's gonna remind a lot of people like who have studied history of the black armband movement during the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
There were like tens of thousands of students wearing black armbands protesting the Vietnam War, and the case went all the way to Supreme Court, and I think that they ruled. They typically always rule for free speech. I think they ruled that the armbands were constitutional.
Yeah, I think
I'd have
they
to
did
double
too.
check
I
that,
remember
though.
learning about that in school. I think they did rule
Yeah.
for
So
them.
yeah, so the black protest armbands, bringing it back 2025. We're protesting the war versus Iran, and also just American independence in general.
That's fire. That's cool.
For American independence.
Yeah.
Yeah, because next year is going to be our 250th. So launch the armbands, get it going, and then for Americans' independence from Israel. That's what we'll be celebrating next year.
Awesome.
250th anniversary. Independence from England, independence from Israel.
W.
Step 1, step 2. Yeah.
W,
All
Kyle.
right.
Thank you for coming on, Kyle. You have a great day. God bless. Thanks for your time. Looking forward to seeing what comes out next. And you have a good night. You have a good day.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Chat. W interview or what? One's in chat. W's in chat if you were fucking with Kyle. I had to keep my mouth good. I didn't want to cuss. I didn't want to be all like dirty. You know how I am. I had a fucking potty mouth. But that was a good interview. I think that went really well. What did you guys think?